Did you ever think of going, I mean, trying another place or saying we have done enough for this place, so now let's go elsewhere while you were maybe after 5 years of working here? Did you ever think of that?
There were many times I wanted to run away.
Runaways?
Yes, run away. Actually, that's why I had Adisha, because I didn't have a place to run away to. So I thought that, one of the things I had said to myself that after I retire, I'll have a place where people can run away. And they don't have to do anything, they don't have to listen to any phone calls, they don't have to get up at night, they don't have to wash clothes, they don't have to cook. They just don't have to do anything and just be there.
Ma'am, that's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, so wherever, all the good places were in the south, like Kunur and Uti and places like that, the ones I knew. So, yeah, there were many times I wanted to run away, but the thing that kept me was I was sure of the calling. I was sure God called me here. When I was 12 years old, I had a dream that I'd be working at the base of in a hospital as a nurse. It was, okay, the dream was a nurse. And snow-covered mountains.
That you were a nurse
in the hospital. So that was a dream when I was 12 years old, but I'd forgotten about it. Then later, when I came here, I remembered that dream. But the dream had nothing to do with the fact that I chose this place, or I thought God called me here. The calling was because we were praying for a long time, like towards third year, fourth year, fifth, final year. Like I was praying, where you want me to go and things. And everybody who came and talked to us always told us, the usual line, 80% population is in the rural and 80% doctors are in the cities. So the need is in the rural. So that was there, that I want to work in rural India where there's a need. And then when we went to Mukti Mission, we saw a slideshow. I don't know if Laji told you, did he?
No.
Yeah, we saw a slideshow by IEM, and there they showed Manali Hospital, Lady Wellington Hospital.
He mentioned that.
Yeah. And actually, I didn't go for the slideshow. I went for the last 3 pictures, I think. Because at that time we had already applied for post-graduation and we were all ready to come back to CMC. So I was thinking, in case God calls, like I don't want to be distracted now, we're going for PG. So I just went for the last 3 pictures, just towards the end of the slideshow. But then something, I can't remember what it was, but something struck me. And then I kept that need in my mind, that this hospital needs doctors and it's in rural India. And then later when we wrote to this place, there were 2 English nurses, Joan and Valerie. We wrote to them just to find out, like, what kind of hospital is it and what do you have and what do you do and what kind of equipment you use and just details of the hospital, because the slideshow didn't tell us anything. And then they wrote to us saying that we heard about you and you've just finished your education and we're looking for a young couple to come and we feel that you could work in our place. So our letters crossed.
Oh, yeah.
So we wrote to them and they wrote to us, and we didn't know each other. So it was like too much of a coincidence. So then, this was in the morning, I remember very clearly. I was doing my bond at Wadia Hospital, and Laji came for the last 2 months of the bond. So, morning post, we received their letter, and we had just posted that day our letter to them. And we were just praying, God, is this from you? Is this just a coincidence, or is it a God incidence? And then in the evening post, we got a letter from Catherine. Did you know Catherine? From Kharar?
No, we have not met.
Yeah, anyway, she was kind of our mentor. We always used to go to her house from CMC Ludhiana. And we had all the EU camps there. So she wrote a letter saying Manali will welcome you with open arms. And we hadn't told her anything about it. So that kind of clinched it. Yeah.
3 months.
So that, because of that kind of deep assurance in my heart that this is where God's calling me, whenever I wanted to run away, that call kept me. So it was just the, I think, assurance of the call. No, first let me say about medical missions. I think about medical missions, what I really believe is that it needs to be small. Like as soon as a hospital starts expanding, it needs to divide into 2 or divide into 3. Like here, when we grew, we started having these community centers, no? Jibi, Spiti, like Lahore and Spiti, 3 centers we had. So I think we need to keep it small. So the new generation, I think if they could think of having polyclinics, with maybe just 4 or 5 different doctors and serving a community of whatever, 2,000 or 5,000.
And you say this because? What the advantages of keeping it small?
Because that keeps the community feeling real. Simple things like if somebody comes late to work for 10 minutes, if you're being very, like in an institution, you might get fined for it. But if you know that, this lady walked over 20 feet of snow for half an hour, it's okay for her to be late 10 minutes.
I think that's what happened in Lalto with us, because it was a small...
Small places. Plus the community also will get to know you quite well. No?
Yeah. So because it's a smaller group of people, like I remember in Lady Wellington Hospital, when we were only 60 of us or 40 of us, like we knew everybody. We knew everybody by name, we knew their children, we knew what was happening in their homes, So if something adverse happened, we were sensitive to it. If it affected the duty hours or affected their work in some way, or we had to suddenly change somebody's night duty or something, we understood it. And because of that, because we understood the staff well and we catered to their needs, their home needs, their family needs, their sponsorship for children or whoever needed it, or all that kind of stuff, I think we did create a community feeling which was a Christian community. We really loved each other, and even though we fought with each other or we had fights with each other, we made up and we loved equally after that. And just being gracious to each other, being sensitive to each other, helping each other, standing with each other in our times of need, all those kind of things happened in reality because we were small. But then when the staff became more like 100, 120, we didn't know their children, we didn't know what was happening, we couldn't. You can't possibly know so many people.
What was the total staffing of Manali at the end, towards the end?
At the end?
Yeah.
When we left, it was 120, I think.
Okay.
I don't know now.
So do you
This-
think? Do you think when it's impossible to stop a facility to expand, institutions do expand. We really can't help
Yeah.
not expanding to a certain extent. Do you think along with expansion we should introduce some systems that keep help the administration to keep in touch like this at a personal level with the staff? I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think Ma'am is saying we should, as soon as it becomes larger, try and split it up into two separate communities kinds or separate
But at the
entities.
same time, I do see the need for institutions and like level 3 care and all that. But I think in those kinds of institutions, what I would encourage is plural leadership. Not to have just one, like a director.
The big boss.
But yeah, not one big boss. To encourage plural leadership so that each leader has his own little community who he looks after.
Looks after. Yeah.
In more ways than one, holistically, looks after holistically. And it's okay if everyone does things that a different way.
Yeah.
Shepherds.
Kind of.
But then we need to make shepherds.
That is going to be a problem.
I think God does that in a sense. Because I think all of us, we are kind of told to care for each other and love each other, no? At whatever level.
You think when the work demands become intense, it becomes impossible to care for each other? Like in a tertiary care.
I think it comes in phases. I mean, there will be times when it is intense, but there will be times when it's not intense. So, in the time that it's intense for you, hopefully it's not so intense for the others. And the caring still goes on.
But finally, the idea is to have that sense of community, of family, of belonging, of doing things for the right
Yeah,
reasons.
that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, first for mission hospitals to keep it small as much as possible, or to have just polyclinics, private polyclinics. And what I was thinking about Manali was that to live in community in the sense of being available for community as well as doing something proactive for the community.
Within community, outside or?
Outside,
Okay.
yeah. Because it's the outside people who are going to look at us and say that something is different. So, I mean, for example, if I take Manali community and I take all these different groups of Christians, if we do something together, it needs to be for the people outside. It's not for us. What we do together is not for us, but what we do together needs to be for the community. Like I said before, like palliative care or a place for vocational training or for de-addiction, whatever the need is of the community.
Okay.
And it's the community which sees all of us different Christians working together, loving each other, respecting each other, and that makes them think, oh, these people are working together so that we benefit.